I think at this point, we haven't necessarily reached the critical mass for a genuine goings-on.
Yeah. Agreed. Enough for a takey-looky, but not enough for a goings-on.
Right. I mean, yeah, I deploy a few rubberneckers to that situation.
Yep.
Maybe like 3 guys from the Looky-Loos Union, but no, this isn't a doings just yet.
So let's set up what we have around us. Let's tell you about where we're at here. This is happening in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Point Pleasant is in western Virginia, where the Ohio and Kanawha rivers meet. Mm-hmm. Okay, the population's around 4,500, maybe a little more back around that time. It's currently at around 4,500. It was settled as early as 1774. I think they had some settlers out there around then. They have a place in town where the Army Corps of Engineers built the West Virginia Ordnance Works in 1942. And they did that to make just a ton of TNT for the war.
Mm-hmm. So never let it be said that Point Pleasant didn't do their best to fight the Huns.
Buy war bonds. So it was stopped in 1945. They didn't need it anymore. And it was handed back over to the Army Corps of Engineers, and they basically pulled out and abandoned most everything by 1949. And it was just left to rot, basiclot.
Just a great big derelict erotic fun park for teens in cars.
Lot of condoms and cement left around.
This is the 60s. Condoms are for sailors, man.
Gotcha. So this place just sort of was left to the elements, and all the containment facilities and things like that, the little underground bunkers that they had to store this TNT, things like that, they just left it there, right? Nobody was worried about it. Hell, they were going out having picnics and just disposing of all their garbage on the side of the hill. So, nothing's going on in terms of environmentalism around then.
This is 15 years before the crying Indian on the side of the road changed America forever. So
exactly. So it was in the 80s. Some dudes were fishing around in there. Noticed some red gooey crap bubbling up from this almost Beverly Hills.
Yes, like red gold.
Red gold. And
Texas triglyceride.
They kind of got a little worried about it. Went and reported it, and turns out the place was festering with chemicals and all kinds of pollution.
Way.
I know. Go figure. So the government made this a priority cleanup kind of place. It's now the McClintock Wildlife Station, where they kind of built a few new ponds. They've restocked everything with fish and cleaned a bunch of stuff up. A lot of the ruins, are still there. Cement blocks, buildings, things like that, still around in there. But
they've actually got a big sign that says "No more bipedal deer." Hooray!
Exactly. So that's where we're at. We're in Point Pleasant again, across the Ohio from Gallipoli, Ohio. Now we've got a few sightings of this winged humanoid creature with glowing red eyes, basically. Mm-hmm. So these kids' story got published in the local paper, and some people started taking note of this thing.
Local boy gets spooked out of hand job. That's that's. It was under the obituary section.
My chances died last time. So they get this one journalist to come down there. Uh-huh. Her name is Mary Heyer. She coins the name Mothman because of the description from the kids saying what the Mothman looked like. Basically, a flying man with a 10-foot wingspan, glowing red eyes, gray or brown skin or fur or something. No arms. The weird thing also about it, not really a head or face. The wings sort of come out of the shoulders and above what should be a head, and the eyes are kind of set between where you would think your shoulders would be, kind of thing. Sketches that I've seen, in images on the internet and stuff like that, based on these descriptions, kind of make it look like the bastard son of an owl and cousin Id.
Yeah, I mean, I've screwed it up because all of my fan fiction pictures have always included a head, so I should have done more research.
Sorry, I mean that's why we're doing this. We're trying to get some information out there.
Yeah.
Right?
See, I'm learning.
We all are.
So, but even then, Mothman seems like a weird place to go.
And it comes from Batman, the Batman comics, because there was a villain called Killer Moth, and I guess she thought this was, the closest thing to that character, to that description.
So she was a comic book chick?
Maybe. So we got a name for it now, and of course the name catches on, spreads like
yeah. Once you name it, it's done. It's a thing.
Now you can control it.
Yep.
So.
Or so they thought.
Dum, dum, dum. So, anyways, we start getting tons of sightings of this thing. Just sightings left and right, all throughout the next year of this thing. It scares people just out of their minds.
Now, I recall hearing. I remember when I was younger, I read a book called America's Backyard Monsters or something.
Oh, I think I've heard of that.
And there was a section about Mothman, and one of those sightings, it was pretty clear about that these people were watching TV, and Mothman was on their front porch staring in the window at them.
There were a couple of accounts of him climbing onto people's front porches, looking in through the window. There was one even a woman was visiting a friend, pulled up outside the house, got out of the car, and noticed that there was something laying on the ground that it looks like she had disturbed. It looks like it was either sleeping or just, kind of chilling out on the ground. It gets up, stands up. It's the Mothman. She freaks out. There are accounts that she's holding a baby, which she drops or falls on it or something. Anyways, finally gets her wits, picks the baby up, runs into the house. The thing follows her up onto the porch, and she gets in the house, shuts the door, and they look over, and it's leaning in, looking in through the window. They call the authorities. They come out there, can't find it anywhere.
Yeesh. That's nightmare fuel.
It's freaky, but it never really hurt anybody.
Now, I had heard
directly.
I had read reports that there were secondary effects of meeting with the Mothman, especially with eye contact.
Yeah.
Migraine headaches, nausea. People having almost hangover-like effects, which I guess you could sort of explain if you were already drunk and then you saw a Mothman. But people complained of problems, of physiological problems immediately following a run-in with the Mothman.
And even the next morning, accounts of people having conjunctivitis.
Yeah.
Their eyes are doing a conjunctivitis type thing.
That's how you get pink eye.
You're one step closer to becoming a Mothman yourself. Conjunctivitis, then pink eye. Followed up by red eye.
Yeah.
So, some people get this conjunctivitis. Some people report sort of almost like sunburn or really tan, kind of almost radiation-like burns on their forearms, things like that too. There are a couple of reports of that. So yeah, there are some physical distress things that happen, but again, you're getting a ton of reports of sightings and things like that. So who knows who was trying to one up the next person,
And this is not exactly a hopping part of the country. This is, I imagine once this starts happening, this is
good blue collar folk,
right?
There, rural area, not minding their own business, not trying to bother anybody.
Right. When you're not sitting in a cafe getting indignant about those damned hippies up north. What else is there left to do with your day but to think about the Mothman,
Right.
And I imagine at that point there was, reports of, him being to blame for spotting on lawns and, the increase in the tax rate.
Oh, man. Mothman's going to have a hard time running for governor.
Exactly. He's breaking everything. My car gets worse gas mileage.
Oh, jeez. So the worst thing to come out of this, people are wondering, of course, what does this mean? Why is this thing here now? Why is it terrorizing us? Is it terrorizing us? Is it trying to communicate? Is it trying to tell us something? They started, let's just go to December 15th, 1967. This is 13 months after that first run in with the two makeout couples.